Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be building our new Xtool D1 20 watt laser. If you've seen my previous videos, or maybe you're just new to the channel and stopping by, if you are new, please click the subscribe, it really helps me out. But in our last video, I did say that I wasn't going to do this video on how to build it because it's the exact same as building the Xtool D1 10 watt series. But since some of you maybe have never bought the 10 watt series and you want to know how the 20 watt series is built, I thought we're doing it anyway, let's go ahead and put it on camera just so you guys can follow along and ask questions. And doing it in true plaid garage fashion, we're not going to use the instruction manual over here at all. We're just going to see how it goes. Although this time around we have learned, we're going to at least check to make sure that we have all the parts before we start. So let's go ahead, refer to our parts, just confirm that we have everything here, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So we should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces right in front of us. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're good. We have the risers. They're over there. We don't actually need to worry about those. I'm not going to be using them today. They just screw into the bottom of these little rubber feet, so not a big deal. We need the shaft. We have the shaft right here. The laser module itself, sitting right over here. Safety glasses, those are already long gone, don't worry about those. The power adapter brick, we got that right there. We got the extension to plug into the brick. They want motor cables. We have motor cables here, a pack of cable ties, a limit switch cable set, which I do have, I believe, actually, on my back bench. I thought it was part of something else. There is our limit switch cable connection. We've got our parts box, which is this guy. For anyone that bought it, you get a nice little toolkit. Pretty cool. So we got that. We got our TF card. We got a coupling inside of our parts box. We got the screwdriver that it comes with and a few hex keys. After that, they list out exactly how many screws we should have. Not going to bother counting them. I assume we're going to have them all. And we also should have the Air Assist laser nozzle, which we do have the Air Assist nozzle right there. Is there anything else we should be aware of? Nope, that is it. Perfect. So, we're ready to get going. Let's cut some of these zip ties off and start our assembly. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. Don't cut any black zip ties though. They have already done some wire management for you with some of the black zip ties. Those ones, if you cut, you're just going to have to replace. So save yourself the pain, don't cut those. Okay, very similar to last time. We want to find the front piece first. It says Xtool on it. There it is, Xtool. This is going to be the one that I'm going to use as facing me for my assembly. I will slide these ones back just a little bit. Next, I want to start with my right piece. So how I can tell which one that will be is there's cutouts for the power switch and for the other cable connectors. For me, that will be this piece right here. I'm going to slide the belt as tight as I can, so this piece is at the back. Or sorry, at the front, I guess, because this piece comes to front. So that won't actually work. I need to send this piece back a little bit, which is going to loosen the belt. Don't worry about that right now. We'll fix it later. And we just want to slot it so that it slides in and aligns with all of our connectors perfectly. There we go. That aligns well. Get our screwdriver, and we're just going to try to jump out our screws so we don't have to keep digging for them. There we go. There are some additional screws in there that are different, but we only want the screws that have red or blue on them. To start off, you actually use the screws that don't have any color. They're very small. They're 1 by 1. And there should be 1 on the top, 3 in the back. I don't think there's any in the bottom. No, there should be none in the bottom. The exact same as it was on the 10 watt module. So if you actually have bought an Xtool D1 10 watt, this will be the exact same process. Your screws won't be color coded though, so make sure you're grabbing the smallest possible screw that they sent in the kit. This little driver they sent is also a huge time saver. Okay, we're going to flop over to the other side now. This is just the back rail. We don't want that one. We want the one with the motor. We need a motor somewhere in the front, and it will be on this side. And it will slot right in, hopefully. Right there. Now I got my cables in the way, but there we go. 4 more screws. And 3 in the back, same as before. We should have put a stop clock up to see how long this takes, but this is going to be all live video anyway, so we'll be able to just see how long it took to assemble. It should be less than 20 minutes if we do everything right. Okay, I'm going to flip it around. We'll put the last part in. Slide 1 and number 2. There we go. Slides in perfectly. Now on the back piece here, there is an extra screw hole, and that is designed for one of the longer screws to adjust your belt tension. So just make sure you don't put the wrong screw in the wrong slot. It matches the exact same screw lines as the front side, where you don't have the extra hole. So if you need to refer to the other end, do so. It is great how fast this thing can be assembled. Three more screws that didn't fall out of the case. And look at that, guys. Just like that, we're already more than halfway done. It's coming along super quickly. Okay. Now this one, this is where we want to align things correctly to do the centerpiece. Actually, I guess first we should do the shaft. Make sure that gets installed, and that's where we can tension this belt, and then we can align these two pieces. So to align them correctly, what I'd like to do is push them both to the very front. That way you know that you're as far forward as you can go on both. There are limit switches, but it's only on this side for the forward-backward motion, so you don't want to actually use the limit switch there. Push this forward. We'll go ahead and start to slot on our coupler. I need to actually get the belt out. If you can get the belt, don't lose it. There we go. Got the belt through. Wrap the belt onto our shaft, and then we can pull this back. And the shaft should seat. There's a little slot in there where it seats into, just like that. And now at the other end, you have our coupler, and they just go across like that and tighten down. Now this is where I just made the same mistake I knew I was going to make. So, I've done this both times every time I build these. Now that I've attached the shaft and tightened it down, they would roll in unison. So as you can tell, our gantry bar is not going to do very good if it's that far off all the time. So I am now going to have to fix that. Easiest way to do that is on the coupler, just loosen off one end to the point where it can freely spin around. Make sure the shaft stays in place though. And then on this end, just roll it all the way back to the front like we said before. Get these two pretty well squared up. And then you can tighten it back down. I'm actually going to line that up with there, and line that up, well, that doesn't go all the way. Just want to make sure that we're as square as we can be, so when we put the top part on, everything's nicely lined up. Okay, at this time, we now also want to use some of these timing screws. So we'll tension our belt, because this one's still very loose. You just loosen it off on the side, slide this back to the rear, and we can tighten that down. We can use this screw through the back slot to we don't want to make it too tight, but we do want this belt to be pulled so that it sits relatively straight. Just like that. Still has some flexibility, but it's pretty good. And on its slide gauge, it's almost about 50% of the way back. So it probably will expand over time as it wears down a little bit, but we're in good starting position. There we go there. Okay, now we're on to the middle. Almost done. So the middle side, this should probably go that way, and this will just slot right down. Into here, just like so. We have 4 red screws, which will go in the ends. Okay. It's a little bit trickier here. Let's see if we can just pull that up again. There we go. Just want to see if I can get one on this end quickly to help hold it. There we go, got those 2 in. We need to continue with 2 more red screws here. And the final one. There we go. It's looking good. Okay. I think now it's just the wiring. So there is one additional step we can do on this laser, and that is the Air Assist Nozzle, which we can go ahead and I think it just inserts in here and screws in to the side. They did put plastic over it. Ta-da! Okay, we can slot this in there now. Screws in quite easily. There we go. This should just slot into here. Actually, before I put the module on, let's just make sure that we get our wiring all done up first. We do have a couple of extra screws. One is going to be for the timing belt up here though. That would be this blue one, should go into this end. I believe the middle belt's already quite tight. It is already quite tight, but we'll go ahead and add this screw so that over time, as it does wear down, we can continue to pull it tight. An Xtool usually does send you with at least one extra screw for each of the kind that you need, just to make sure that if one was stripped or was no good, that you have one spare. So there we go, that should be it. So here's my one extra blue, my one extra red, and I actually got two extra of the short ones, but the short ones are only for holding the frame together, and we know our frames bolt together, so we're done there. Put those back inside of our little toolkit. We do have to add our chip, so we'll go ahead and do that now as well when we do the cabling. Chip just slots in here to the front, like that. And the final wiring. So I'm going to flip this upside down right there on top of our foam. And we go white to white, yellow to yellow, red to red. It's a very complex system they've got here, especially if you have larger hands. It's such a tight space. Who would have thought the hardest part of this build was just plugging the wires in? I almost feel like I should have did this before I put the shaft in. The shaft goes right across the top of the card and I can't get my hand in behind it. If someone else has struggled this hard to put these in, please put it in the comments so I don't feel like I'm the only one in the world that can't do this. Hey, we did it. I think they're all in. There we go. Success! We do have an extra wiring harness that is for the sensors, so that it has the limit switches hooked up. And I still need to add another one for the motor over here. I believe it's this little one here that we want for the limit switch. And this one here for the motor. This little guy here. Goes on that way. One, two. There we go. This goes to the laser module itself. Just reaches. Yep, just reaches. There we go. That is all of the cabling done. And we can flip it back over. Add the module to the center. And we have this nice little thumb screw over here that you can just lock it in place with. Awesome, how quick and easy that is. And they left you enough slack to slot that through the housing down and onto the back of the laser. There we go. And that's it. It's ready to be plugged in. Get rid of our foam sheet. Put our little screwdriver away. We do have a lot of zip ties if you wanted to try and tie some of the cables off. These are already pretty well good. The only thing I would maybe do is add 3 zip ties to that cable just to hold it there. But that is it. We are done with the assembly. One. There we go. That's it, guys. If you've sticking around this long, I bet most of you have already left by now. But if you have, please drop me a like and subscribe to the channel. I don't usually push my own channel too often, but it would be nice to get a few likes in the video. Let me know that you guys actually appreciate the content, and we'll see you in the next one. Thanks for tuning in. Later.